Now that I installed the mini split in my shop, I knew I needed to insulate the garage door. I have no other windows in this shop, just the garage door, so that's going to be my point where it's going to leak the most energy out. So I got this foam board from the big box store. I got some white Gorilla Tape and some white foam tape. I do all my shooting and video editing in here, so I want to make sure this is a nice clean background. I can tell you this is going to be a very messy job. I already opened the box and took out one sheet, and I am covered in these little white foam balls. So it's not going to be a clean job, but it's going to be an efficient job. So come with me, let's get it started. These rails are absolutely filthy, and since all those boards are nice, clean, crisp white, I'm going to clean these all off first because we don't want these on our new backers.
Before we even think about insulation, it's time to address a decade's worth of sawdust. These rails have seen more shop time than some of my chisels. A lot of elbow grease later, and we're ready to start taking dimensions for each section of the door.
The way the manufacturer recommends you cutting it is just to use a straight edge and some sort of blade. I like this type of blade. So let me show you the way they want you to do it. I need this piece to be 14 inches by the 20 that it comes with. Mark at 14. Grab our straight edge. Line it up there. And then I'm just gonna take a couple shallow passes. There's your piece.
Now, I'm not sure if cutting this material on the table saw is officially recommended, but I'm standing right in front of mine, so that's what we're going with. I do have a saw stop though, and just to be safe, I'm going to switch this into bypass mode. I doubt this insulation would trigger the brake, but I'd rather not take that gamble.
I told you it was going to be a mess. Look at me.
I use white Gorilla Tape to seal the edges, and it practically disappears into the panel. Clean, crisp, and barely noticeable on camera. I'll link that below.
I created myself a little tape jig by just using a piece of scrap wood. I know I want my piece of tape to be 21 inches. That's in between the two rails. This way they're all exactly the same. So I measured out 21, it's 21 and a half inches, I'm sorry. So I measured out 21 and a half inches and I put a little mark. Now I just take my extremely strong duct tape. I'm not worried about the glue not being strong enough. Put it on that mark, run it to the edge, snip. Now I got a perfectly 21 and a half inch piece of tape. They'll all be exactly the same size.
Some of these panels fit so snug, I had to convince them with a little finesse. And my fists. They're not going anywhere, that's for sure.
There's screws sticking through here, so I'm just gonna crunch these in, and then I'll put a full piece there and tape these together.
I raised the garage door here to save my back from all the bending, but that came with a trade-off. The door flexed and shifted a lot more while I worked. You win some, you lose some. The DIY life in a nutshell. Cutting each panel to size is kind of like woodworking without the sawdust. I'm not sure which one's messier, but one is way more fun than the other.
I figured out a cool way to drop this tape behind it. I'll just cut it to the, oversize the length that I need. And then I'm just gonna fold over one end. Then that makes it easier to drop it through. I go at an angle. So after doing this for hours, starting to learn little tricks.
By the end of this install, I didn't have the mini split running since the door was open. I was drenched, and I ended up basically just boxing insulation panels into place. Not pretty, but effective? Here's a tip for you. Since we added weight by adding all these insulation panels, I called in the pros to evaluate the springs. The last thing I want is a snap spring. Not sure my heart could survive that surprise. He did note though, it ended up being not a large difference, but better safe than sorry.
These are fun. I made these shark magnets for my shark CNC.
Bonus win, these white panels give me a super clean background for filming. It's like my garage door put on a dress shirt, ready for a YouTube close-up.
Well, that's it. We could be done there. Everything is perfectly insulated. It's going to serve multiple purposes for me. It's got a nice clean white background as well. But I have one more idea for this wall. I have collected over the years many of these things, and I think this is a good place to display it. So let me show you what I was thinking. Stickers. I have tons and tons of stickers. I've collected these over the years from different makers by doing swaps over on Instagram. I have so many to go through. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get all these up on the wall, and it certainly won't all be today. I mean, look how many stickers I have here. So let me go through them a little bit and see how I can organize these and get them up on the wall. All right, as you can tell, it's been a few months, and I would say I've added quite a few new stickers to the wall. But more importantly, I wanted to be able to report back and let you know that the insulation is doing its job. I did not add the spray foam. I figured any nook and cranny was going to have spray foam popping out once it all cured, and I'd be cleaning that up forever. So I decided it wasn't worth it. And it's not perfect. There's going to be gaps here and there, but I would say it's a 90 to 95% improvement from what it was. And I'm in South Florida with the sun beating down on this door all day long, and my mini split is not running all day long. So it's doing its job, and I definitely recommend you guys giving this a shot. It's a cheap alternative option. And DIY is the way to go for this one. So I appreciate you guys watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.